it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on the Movies. And today we're doing my 10, uh, what would you call it? Best, and I'll put that in quotes, new movies of 2021. And remember, it's January, so that's when we have to rank everything. So, let's start with number 10. I chose Tammy Faye.
Safi, it's called The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah.
Okay, it was called The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is apropos because she wore 10 tons of eye makeup. And I remember her and her husband forever and a day. They were on TV constantly. You didn't have to look for them, which I wasn't, but they were everywhere. And I don't know, I was kind of glad to see their evolution as what they were and what they became, because I didn't see those early days, but her eye makeup got heavier and heavier and heavier, and then she ended up with this. I don't know why she thought that was a good look, but I thought the actress who played her, she did a pretty good job. Tammy Faye was a very unique person, and she passed away from cancer, and unfortunately her disgusting husband, which in the movie he was played by, where is he? The Superman guy.
No.
Where is he? Andrew Gates, I guess.
No.
Okay, well.
Andrew Garfield.
Okay, I don't know if Marco's giving me a problem or not. It's Gayfield, and if he is, I'm going to be mad. But I actually like Andrew in this part better than I've seen him, because I thought he did a really good job. And their evolution, what they were in the beginning, which looked perfectly, I mean, they were in love, and it was just really interesting, and then they went on and on. It's almost like the money just kind of consumed them, and what they could buy, and where they could live, and
which is supposedly a sin.
Yeah.
If you're greedy. So
well, I agreed.
I don't understand that.
Of course, who would? And that's what, and they were actually running like some kind of a Ponzi scheme in the end, where they said, well, you invest in this, we're going to bring this, and then if they didn't have the money, they were using that money to do something else. And even people all along the way were saying, well, her mother, well, where are you getting the money to get that? And in the end, it all fell apart, and he got in trouble. He went to prison, and actually now he's out. And
he's back to his old ways again.
Yes, he is, with or without her, but it's without her because she passed away. And it's a shame, because really what they started off with was what, spreading the word of the Lord, or just being good people and being good to each other, and not this thing with having lots of money.
I don't know, Safi. Those recipes weren't very good.
Yeah, Marco and I tried this.
We tried her sloppy joes.
And it was horrible. But I could tell it was going to be not good. We were looking for a way to eat sloppy joes that we both really like, and it's been kind of hard, if you can believe that, a simple thing like that. But
yeah, I thought I remember sloppy joes used to be like one of the best foods of all time.
Yeah,
it's like a classic food to have sometimes, but for some reason just can't find a good recipe. Like they have like these gross recipes where it has all this ketchup. They have a gross recipes where...
Well, they put vegetables.
They have
of vegetables.
Vegetable chunks, like, ugh,
I don't like
gross.
That. And I don't remember it being like that.
I remember that you just put mix and tomato paste
That's
or
it.
something.
With a little water, because whenever you put tomato paste with something, you always have to add some water.
Why don't you do that then?
Well, I don't think the mixes that they have are the ones that we had before. It was McCormick or something. but I know we're getting off track. But we did try because she went on the show
They're
and
so
they did this
bad.
cooking, and her offering was this sloppy Joe stuff. It was, oh God, it was just the worst.
That was one of the grossest things that we ate all year.
Oh,
I ate two of them,
oh,
and then I got sick afterwards. Safi got sick too.
yeah. It just
It was so gross.
and I really wonder, did she really eat that wearing one of her luxurious coats and sitting in her beautiful
Well, Safi,
house?
she was a southern girl, and her cooking was like more southern based,
Yeah, but I
like
don't.
that
I've
sloppy
seen
Joe crap.
I've seen Southern cooking, and it was 1,000 times better than that. They do have their own style and the roots and everything else, but that was not. I don't know what that was. It was just. I think she forgot or something. But it was
Really?
awful. But anyway, let's keep moving on. I just thought I
You
thought it
move
was
on.
pretty good, and I everybody thought that they were corrupt and awful, and they were as corrupt and awful as we all thought, or maybe worse.
Well,
I
let's
couldn't
be honest,
believe it.
Safi. You liked the beginning part, but then you did not like the movie as it went on.
Well, I just because it was I knew all about it, and but I tried to ignore it because I didn't care about these people. I mean, they weren't the only ones on TV. In fact, the other people, Jimmy Swagger, all these other people, they were all out there too. They were competing with each other, and they were very prominent. I mean, they really like. I don't know how they got that. They were everywhere, and they were competing. And I think that Jimmy Swagger, the rest of them, got the best of the guy, and that's why he went to prison. But Andrew, I thought, did an excellent job, and I was, he's British and everything. I thought he just did a good job.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that because he's a lot better at playing an American than Tom Holland. Tom Holland looks British, and even when he talks American, he sounds British, and it just doesn't work. But Andrew Garfield, I keep on forgetting.
Garfield. That's it.
I keep on I call him Gayfield. I keep on forgetting that he's British. So
Yeah, I that's the best thing I've ever seen him do.
no.
So he just did that Superman thing, and
You mean Spider-Man?
that Spider-Man. God, I don't know why I keep doing that. And that was it was very small actually compared to this. This was a huge role for him. He did a good job. Okay, moving on. Number 9 is the Lucille Desiigner movie.
Ew.
And it was really more, I think, of a documentary.
It's called Being Ricardo, Safi.
Well, I'm just going to
Get the
call
titles right.
Okay, well, I'll let you
Okay.
jump in and say what the real title is. And the best role was J.K. Simmons as God, I can't even think. Let's see, there's Lucy and Desi and Ethel and him, Fred. And he did an excellent job. And if he really did that, if that really did happen, where he was very common sense, very grounded, really giving her Lucy, solid advice, because she was really, of the whole thing, it seemed like she was the steering wheel, but there was also Desi. It surprised me how much of a powerhouse he was too in terms of business. And he may have had a wandering eye and multiple girlfriends, because that's what they implied the whole time. And
I don't blame him. That Lucille, she's a crazy communist.
Oh God. So I was really I found out things that I didn't know before, and this was on like the whole time I was growing up, and it was funny. It's still funny today. People from all over the world loved it. She was so good. and she was very good at physical comedy.
Well, Nicole Kidman isn't good at physical comedy though,
No.
or playing the role because she's, you know.
That was the biggest problem I had with it. I apologize, but I just didn't think that Nicole Kidman was that great, and I don't know who would be better. There might be somebody better. There always will be, I'm sure, in reality. But they might have to look for a while because Lucy is very hard. She was one of a kind, and to act like her, imitate her, is not easy for anybody. So, but Nicole Kidman, Marco said she had a facelift.
No, she had plastic surgery.
Well, isn't that the same thing?
The facelift is different, though.
Okay, well, whatever. She had some kind of work done on her face, and you can. I don't know why actresses do this.
I don't either. It's
because
really weird.
It's better to have their natural look. And I'm sorry, but that's what I believe. And she just looked kind of. Lucy was stern, and she was very. She had a great way. They showed her of imagining what something would look like in the whole picture. Not everybody has that skill. It's a very difficult skill on anything, to see something in the whole picture, looking at everything. And she had a great eye for that. It wasn't just about her way to do physical comedy, which is not easy either. It's the fact that she could see the whole picture. And that really helped, and she really improved things. And so, anyway, it was very enlightening.
But what was the best part? You haven't even mentioned your favorite part of the movie, Safi. Do I need to remind you?
I don't know. I know the dinner scene and what?
The movie. You said that the movie actually shows, and see, I didn't bring this up when I talked about it.
Okay.
You said that the movie shows how much effort they used to put into making TV shows.
Yes.
Compared to nowadays.
I was very impressed with that, and it's very eye-opening, and it's a little depressing.
Yeah.
But that's probably why I put it out of my mind. They talked when they had their and everybody does this and makes a show. I know they do. It's just probably a matter of what they talk about and how long they talk about it and what they talk about. But it's they went over every single detail that was going to be in the episode. Every detail to make sure that it was right. And that's why their shows were so good. Because they did do that. They did look at it wasn't just about her seeing everything in the whole picture. It was about the detail. They all wanted to make the details right. They don't do that now, and that's part of the problem. That's why they have agendas. They don't think about how it will affect the whole thing, the whole story, how it might affect another character that everybody likes. I mean, there's just so many things that are wrong nowadays. They need to go back to these older shows, and why were they so successful? And they should say, well, maybe they showed this because they looked after every detail. They were very detail-oriented, and it made for a very effective and entertaining show. You watch all those episodes, really pretty much they are all good in some way.
30-something episodes.
Yeah, look at all those episodes, too. And they made less money, and they spent more time and effort to make a good product.
Then nowadays it's like, okay, we're done.
And 6 or 8 episodes of a show now, when they did 30 back then, I mean, it was a lot of work. Maybe people don't want to, maybe that was too much time. I don't know. But you can see, though, the effort that they made a huge difference. And everybody loves that show all over. I went to a garage sale this summer, and there was these 2 Chinese ladies. One was a mom who, and the daughter, and then there was a grandma back home, in China, and she didn't understand a word of. They didn't have it translated a word of what was going on, but it was so. The physical comedy and the story was so evident because they'd fixed every detail. She still thought it was funny, and they had these 4 photographs of the show that I bought. They were like sepia framed, wooden framed photographs, and they were saying, "Oh, you like Lucy? Our grandma back in China loves that show. Everybody loves that show all around the world." I mean, can you imagine? They can't even speak. They couldn't even speak the language of the show or understand what they were saying, but it was so well done they could see what was going on.
Well, you can
and understand enough to be entertained by it.
You can guarantee that same Chinese woman, if she watched the Chucky series from nowadays, she'd be like, "Ew!" and she'd throw it away.
Probably would. She'd just shut it off. Okay, I need to move on. Okay, my next one is called Licorice Pizza. And basically, it's about this older girl who's in her 20s, and he's supposed to be 15, and they are very, very good friends, but they're close enough they could have a relationship, and how that was, naysayed, and she didn't want to do it, but they were very close, and that's really what it was about. But what I was impressed by was the boy, who's really 18 now or 19. He was the son of Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was an excellent Oscar-winning actor, I believe. I think he's won an Oscar. He won an Oscar. And he was really good. And so I think people should keep an eye out on him because he did such a good job. And she had never acted either. She did a really good job, too. So I thought, even though it was a very simple story, and they liked to run a lot in the movie. I don't know what the deal with that was. They ran everywhere. It was still, I thought the performances were really good. So that's why I put it my number 8. Okay, my number 7 is called Riders of Justice.
Oh.
And this is a foreign movie made in, I think, Denmark. And what I liked about it was Mads Mikkelsen, and you know him from Hannibal, and he's been in other, I think he's been in a James Bond movie where he played the villain, but he's always very, he wears these beautiful suits and just impeccable dress, impeccable look, impeccable manners, and he was this, I don't know what you want to call him, like a mercenary person. And he was very, rough. He didn't talk much, and really strictly business, and almost like he had no heart. Like he could just, like a cold-hearted killer almost. But then you could see that he did have a sensitive side, but he kept trying to hide it. And I just love him. I thought he didn't. Was so different. And this was kind of in his wheelhouse because it was because it was a European movie in their neck of the woods in Scandinavia. Maybe there were things that he was familiar with that another actor might not be, in mannerisms or whatever. But I just thought he did. It's just so different than what I'm used to seeing him doing that I just thought he did a brilliant performance. And also I liked the way, he was just strictly business. He was out to kill and get these people for hurting his family.
No, Safi, they killed his wife.
Well, that's hurting his family, right?
But then it turns out that they didn't, remember?
Yeah, I don't remember who did it. This was kind of a surprise movie.
They don't tell you.
Okay.
I guess it was an act. I don't know.
We don't know. See, that was kind of a mystery, but I'll just say hurting his family. because it's still all up in the air. But anyway,
You most like the ending though, where they're having a Christmas party.
yeah, I like the ending. I mean, he's still in the end. He's still his very stern, no nonsense. I'm a mercenary, but I do have a heart. But I don't want to show it to anybody. And then you have all these other people. You have these people. They're just happy-go-lucky. You have a geeky guy. You have a gay guy who's very into cooking and caregiving and loving, and then you have his daughter, right? And it's just a whole eclectic group of people getting together for a Christmas party, and it was charming. I really loved it, so that's why I chose that for number 7. Okay, number 6 is Digg. Now, that was about an archaeological site on this property in England, and it was boring to a lot of people. And I hate to tell you, I've been on an archaeological site, and it is not glamorous. It's hard work, and what you do is what we did, and this was in Illinois, southwest Illinois, by the Illinois River. And that was, we were on a farm site called the Coster site, and you got up, we were on level 11 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So it was way deep in this gigantic pit. And we got up at 6, ate a little breakfast, and we all went out to the site, and we had to go, it's early in the morning. You start excavating and sitting there with with a trowel, and any artifact you find, you have to leave it there. You have to map it into a square. I mean, all this, it's very meticulous. It's hard work. It starts getting hot. And by noon, it's like 120 degrees in the pit. That was what it was like for us. And just my point is that it's a hard work. It is not exotic. And it's not, if you're going to talk about it and watch it, it's boring. And I think a lot of people found this movie boring, but it was an interesting story.
I'll tell you why I didn't have it on my list. It's the same reason why you didn't really like it, is because in the second half, it becomes very formulaic, and they have this really unnecessary romance storyline that's like straight out of a soap opera.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And then at the ending, they completely cut it off with the character, remember?
I think why they did that is because they knew people would find it boring, and they decided to inject this love thing. That's the only thing I can think of. And then another thing that bothered me about the movie was that the man they asked to help them, it was this woman, and she knew there was an archaeological site in her property, and she wanted this man, a local man who knew about things like this, to help find it and to help her figure out what to do with it. And he was what you would call an amateur archaeologist. I mean, he doesn't have any credentialing in terms of multiple degrees and all that, which I'll tell you something, if you're knowledgeable about archaeology, you read a lot, and for years you do everything, you study everything, you're going to be pretty knowledgeable as some of these PhDs out there. And I've seen this before in my own experiences, where you have this rivalry between people who are what you would call amateur archaeologists and ones who already have the documentation, they're PhDs. And so these people come in from this museum or whatever they were, and they took them off and told them to go, practically told them to go away. And it was so disgusting. He still continued to help, so to speak, behind the scenes. And in the end, they just say, well, bye, you did a great job. And we thought, well, that's the end of him. But apparently, he had an illustrious career of helping people and working on sites and museum work. And I mean, his career went on and on and on and on past this movie. You'd never know it by watching this movie. But I picked it because I thought it was interesting. And there was a story with the site. I guess it was a true story. And but I realize that people would find this boring because archaeology can be boring if you don't know what it's really about. Yes, it's not Indiana Jones, and I think that's what everybody measures archaeology by is Indiana Jones. It's not Indiana Jones ever. That's probably I don't even know who experiences as an Indiana Jones experience doing archaeology because it's a lot of hard work, sweat, and the artifacts just don't come rolling in like, oh my God, there's artifacts. No, no, it doesn't work that way. And you have to map everything. You have to photograph it. You have to clean it. You have to weigh it. Oh God, it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Okay.
Why don't you go a little faster, Safi?
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's already 25
Okay, number
minutes.
5 is the little things, and
Oh God!
the reason why I picked this one is because it had a big plot twist, and I was shocked with Rami Malekhan or somebody, and he, the one who did the band movie. That's why I picked it because it had a huge twist, and I liked that because it was like a big surprise. Okay, and I'll just go on because Marco's about to have a cow. And then 4 is Nobody, and that is the Better Call Saul guy. God, I can't remember anything. I wrote that down too. Well, I guess Marco wasn't going to help me out.
No, because you asked me 30 minutes ago,
asked him about
and
this
then you
before.
wrote it down, so...
I know, I'm trying to find out where I wrote it down.
Oh, too bad.
Okay, well, anyway, this was a shocking thing to see him play this movie because it was so unlike his character in Better Call Saul because he was so... he was very strong, and he looked like he worked out, which he did, to play in this movie. And he was not what you thought he was at the beginning of the movie. He was somebody else, and I thought that was a big surprise. And just everything about the movie, it was like surprise upon surprise upon surprise about him. But it was so unlike what he usually does, and he did an excellent job. You know, he is a comedian, and it's just totally different than what he's used to doing. And so that's why I picked that as number 4. I like movies that are unexpected and have surprises that I never would have expected. This is the problem with this year, like I said, is the movies weren't outstanding.
They weren't good at all.
And you have to figure out what it is that you liked about the ones that stood out to you, and that's what I did. I picked out the things that I liked, and he was very good at what he did, and it was a surprise movie, and afterwards he's had a heart attack since then. All that working out and everything, I guess he just wasn't used to. He's used to being a sleazy lawyer who does everything the easy way, although he comes up with lots of interesting ways to beat the system, but it's a lot of mental work, but not physical. And there was a lot of physicality in this movie with him. Okay, my number 3 one was Queen Pins, and it was the coupon movie with the 2 women. I thought all the actors were really good in this movie. There was Vince Vaughn, and then Marco said there was this other guy. He was the one who played his, quote, partner in finding out the truth about the coupons, who was in that movie about the Olympic bomber. And anyway, I thought it was interesting. I used to do couponing like this, not as bad as them because I got the point. I just didn't like clipping them out. But I remember, and I don't know if people are still into this because you can do online coupons now so much easier. Yeah, I don't like clipping stuff out and saving them. So, and they would get stacks and stacks. I've seen this. So I know this was done. I remember people would go to the store, but they used to, it was very free, and they have a lot of rules, like 1 coupon per item. They would get, this was before they had that, they get 20 laundry soap coupons, and so they add all those up, and you get it for a nickel or you get it for free. They used to do that, and I remember this. And I had boxes of coupons with, they were all filed, and I ended up, I'm from Kansas City. I went to see my family. I brought a whole box to a girl who was in this coupon club, which I belonged to. And I brought her my box of filed, clipped coupons. She got it all. But we did that. You cut out UPC symbols and you'd send them in and you'd get stuff. And I had been saving those. And I didn't want to keep clipping stuff.
Safi, you also had like a full container of like tabs from cereal.
Yeah, I did. And
Boxes.
I gave her those too. So anyway, I don't know what happened with her, but they had.
So you basically just like the movie because you're biased.
No, I liked the movie. I thought it was a good little story. It was different.
You didn't
Who ever thought anybody'd do a movie about this couponing? This was a big deal.
You didn't like the agendas though, and you didn't like the ending where they didn't learn anything.
Yeah, that's right. They did not. I was really actually surprised. This was a negative surprise, where the women went back to what they were doing. Only they did it in another country, so they couldn't be. They talked about it, so that didn't do extradition. So if they got in trouble in the United States, they couldn't bring them back home because the country didn't participate in extradition. So, okay, my number 2 was Ghostbusters, the brand new one. And I thought it was a good way. I thought it was interesting. I didn't think it would be any good. I saw the trailer for this, and all the Ghostbuster movies starred in a city, New York. And this was in a small town. I mean, it was even worse than a small town. It was just like a hole in the ground. And I'm like, where did they get all these kids? Because usually the parents have to have a place to have a job. And so if there's nowhere close with the employees people, there are not going to be any families there. It's just going to be older people who grew up there, and maybe they have the money to go and retire there, but they have to have places to, go to the store and all that. And I mean, there's just so many things that I just thought this can't work. But it actually did. There was enough kids to make a cast, and what I liked about it was this is what you would call this thing with nostalgia. They had as many of the original main cast people come back, and although they were older, a lot older, in their 60s and 70s, they still managed to, even though you could tell, they didn't hide it, that they were, it took some effort to help out and do what they did, but they show up in the end, and I think, and then they kind of made a tribute to the guy who passed away, and because it was kind of their fault that they didn't make a movie sooner that would have included him, because they kept saying no, and then he passes away.
It was mostly Bill Murray's fault. It wasn't really they had all these projects where everyone else would sign on, but then Bill Murray wouldn't.
Yeah, because he wanted to make stupid movies about Japan where won't even get started there, where he did terrible. Anyway, so I thought because it was like a little bit of a nostalgia thing, like Spider-Man, for example, which I thought did a terrible job doing nostalgia and bringing back old Spider-Mans, which made no sense to me at all. I don't care how they did it. This made more sense, and I thought they paid a lot of it. Now, this is where it was different. They did pay attention to detail quite a bit, and to make it right, almost because of this guy who passed away, kind of to, you know,
It's basically one giant apology for
yeah, for not making this movie
not making
sooner.
a third one sooner and a fourth and fifth, and also an apology for the feminazi one.
Well, people, I mean, look, you had just to have the death of Bob Saget. He was like 65, and everybody's shocked by him passing away. It was unexpected. And there's no foul play, no drugs, no nothing. He just you know, it must have been his heart or something. But anyway, some people don't live forever. They die sooner than expected. And that's what's happened with this guy, and they made a mistake. Bill Murray made a mistake. He just thought it's just like Twin Peaks. I don't know what David Lynch is thinking. He's just going to wait for the whole cast to age and die out before he says, "Oh, I guess we'll make another one." Well, it'll be too late. And that's what happened here. But anyway, I thought it was really good. I really liked it. It was fun and it was light, and I thought the kids did a good job. The girl, the young girl, and she wasn't pretentious or anything. She was exactly what she said. She was a scientist, and that's what she said. And she was supposed to be the guy's granddaughter. And so I just thought it was really good. So, no, man, number one is Psych 3. And I really suggest to everybody to go and watch the entire Psych seasons. Every one of them. They're not all great, but this movie I thought was really good. And what made that show successful was the camaraderie and the casting between the two stars, main stars especially. They just have the best chemistry on the planet, and it was funny, and it was a good story. It was goofy, and it was just everything a successful Psych episode was, and a lot of them were good. You can't say, there were so many of them that were bad. No. It was a series that was really, really funny, but what made it the most successful were the casting and the chemistry was just perfect.
And the issue with the show is that as time went on, they stopped taking it seriously and they got a lot more goofy, which if you look at the Psych fan group, everyone there says, including me, that we prefer like the first 4 seasons and we don't really like them after that as much because they got really goofy, and then at the end of it they literally rode the entire series on Lassiter becoming chief and having him be the focal point of the story from then on, and we all know how that turned out.
And he had a stroke.
So they
stroke.
They really screwed up. But this movie kind of like redeemed for it, and this movie was it was pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just thought, there's no way that any of these movies were better than that.
Yeah.
For me, I just can't. There's no way I could look at this list 1,000 times, and I would never put anything above that because it was just the chemistry. You can't get that nowadays. Or they don't pay attention, or it isn't something you can fix and manipulate either. It just happened, and they just are really good together. And so anyway, that's why I put it number one. And that, everybody, is my list of new movies of 2021.
Yeah. Let's be fair, you did snub Benedetta.
It was in between my 10 and my...
Yeah.
What would it be?
Well, it should have been above Eyes of Tammy Faye, because we all know that you liked Benedetta more than the Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Well, Benedetta was good in that it was a true story, and it was different and unique, and yeah, I really did like it a lot.
I know.
But I don't know if I'd put it. I'm more familiar with that Tammy Faye story just because it was in my face for like part of my growing up.
What does that have
life.
to do with the movie?
Well, I just
The
it was
substance
interesting
of
to
the
see
movies.
what was really what I was seeing, what was going on back there
Okay.
behind what I was seeing, and that's why I appreciated it in terms of that. Explain the reality of what was going on.
Well, Cobra Kai was better than it all anyway, so
Well, Cobra Kai was not a movie, and it was not part of this.
it
So
doesn't matter.
I just want to tell you, people who makes the psych movies, keep it up
Yeah.
because we love to see a movie where they actually have chemistry and it's fun, and it's there's a mystery.
Can we stop with this bullshit where, like, you make Sean's immaturity like some sort of a problem?
Yeah,
Because, like, who cares?
I know.
Like,
Who cares?
Like, he solves all these mysteries, he saves people's lives, and then the one thing that you focus on is that I don't like that he's immature.
I don't like. I don't. That's just BS.
It's like if you look at Monk, he solved all those cases, and he got to be even worse than Sean with the way that he acted, with all of his little mannerisms and obsessions that would almost cost him people's lives all the time. And yet with this show, it's like, oh my god, Sean keeps making jokes. Juliet.
Yeah. Well, whatever. It was my favorite movie. So
Yeah.
that's it, everybody. Probably I don't know what's next, but it's either ranking
The X-Files!
The X-Files
Season 3 review. Because we finished it. Well, I finished it today.
I have
Safi's,
2 episodes to watch.
Yeah, she's finishing it tomorrow morning. We watch 2 episodes a day. And, and look at that, Safi. We finished a season in a week and a half.
Which it was really good, so I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye!